Thank you, Francis. Of course, another bank, as I was saying earlier, has claimed it was also pressurized not to close Gupta-linked bank accounts. Today, we heard from Nedbank CEO Mike Brown as he appeared before the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture. To discuss this, as promised a little earlier, we're joined now by the SABC's economic reporter, Gloria Sefako-Musi. Gloria, good evening to you. We've seen a number of witnesses come forward, particularly from the banks. Mike Brown today also saying that Nedbank, in his role at least, he said he felt threatened by former Minister Zwane.
Mr. Brown said he felt pressured, more pressured because while they were, firstly, he said he was told to come to the meeting because the finance minister was
Pravin Gordhan was expected to be there.
Yes, Pravin Gordhan was the finance minister at the time. He said he was told that he was going to be there.
Because that's been the question people have been asking. Why did Nedbank go to this meeting when it appears a number of its rivals had declined the same?
Yes, FNB and ABSA stated that they declined because they said the custodian of the regulations that governs banks was not going to be at the meeting. So what's the point of this meeting? They needed someone that can appreciate the roles that the banks have to play and the regulations that governs them.
So in a sense then, what really we're hearing from Nedbank is that they were led to this meeting under false pretenses.
Yes. They said to them, okay, the finance minister was going to be there. Firstly, they said they're not going to discuss the Gupta-related accounts, but rather closure of accounts in general, because from the other banks, they were told the banks cannot disclose confidential clients' information with third parties. So they said we're just going to discuss general accounts closure, impact on investor confidence. That's why they went to the meeting. But when they got there, they said the chairman of the meeting was former Mineral Resources Minister Zwane, who said he could not understand why the other banks declined to honor the invitation for the meeting, given that it is the government that offers them the licenses to operate.
So that was really the threat, wasn't it? That if you don't play ball, we still can determine whether or not you can operate and do business in this country. Exactly.
That's how he read it. He told the commission that the undertones of what Zwane was saying was like, you have to behave in a certain way or else.
Did he explain in what capacity the minister might have been saying these things?
Not exactly, but he said, the minister said to them that the committee was convened by government, the cabinet, and they had to report to parliament in May. This was happening in April. They had to report to parliament in May.
So there was a sense of speed. This needed to be resolved with some speed.
With urgency, yes.
We also heard, of course, from the expert witness, Dr. Daniel Kaufman, today, and one of the things that I thought was quite startling was the standard which he said needs to be set around these things. The idea that politicians or DGs or anyone will say, do you know what would happen to me if? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Dr. Daniel Kaufman is a CEO of a think tank in New York that's based, that's dedicated to governance issues, especially with countries that have resources, rich in resources like South Africa. He said the phenomenon of state capture is it's a web of, it's a complex web, which is mainly powerful individuals that think they can influence policy direction to benefit them, or get also into institutions like your energy in a country, try to control procurement, to make sure that they benefit from that. So he said to ensure that a country emerges from this kind of environment, there had to be transparency. They had to make sure that institutions are strong, so that people that think they can influence decisions in such a way know there will be comebacks for them.
All right, I thought that was very interesting when he said, do you know what might happen to me? We'll have to leave it there with you, Gloria. Thank you very much for that explanation. That was, of course, our economic reporter, Gloria Sefako-Musi. Stay with us. We've got more after this break.